Hey everybody, my name is Bill Holmes. Welcome to tonight's edition of ProjectManagementForum.net. Continuing my video series on the PMI Ethics and Code of Conduct. And tonight we are beginning what I would describe as the penultimate standard, which is honesty. As a reminder, each standard is broken into aspirational standards, that which you should aspire to achieve, and those which are mandatory. If you don't meet those, you're actually in violation of the Code of Conduct and could be sanctioned. From the background, you can tell I'm coming to you tonight from another motel room. I'm traveling a lot for work these days. This one is filmed in beautiful downtown Louisville, Kentucky, where the Kentucky Derby was just run. Anyway, let's get into this. So the first aspirational standard is we earnestly seek to understand the truth. Now that, in my opinion, is kind of a throwaway. I don't know how you would sort of qualitatively measure that or even quantitatively measure it. So let's just say that that's sort of a subset of you need to always try to understand what's going on in your project. The second is we are truthful in our communication and in our conduct. Now in this particular instance, I think I disagree with PMI because what's the opposite of that? Being untruthful in our communication and our conduct. If you're untruthful, then how can you possibly be in compliance even with the aspirational standard of honesty? So in this opinion, I think this should be a mandatory standard. The next one is one I want to talk a little bit about. We provide accurate information in a timely manner. Now, I don't know how in the world this is not a mandatory standard. Project communication is all about making sure that the stakeholders have the information they need when they need it. I have seen many project managers be untruthful because they hesitated to report bad news. I'm sure you've seen that too. Sometimes a project manager will take so much time trying to figure out what absolute truth is. And I know there's a requirement to validate before you report, but if you are way over budget or way behind schedule, you know that. You don't need to really know whether you are 10% or 10.2%. You know you've hit the tolerance level and you need to report that. So accurate information in a timely manner should absolutely, positively, in my opinion, be a mandatory standard. The next one is we make commitments and promises implied or explicit in good faith. Again, how can this not be a mandatory standard? If you can't be taken at your word, if you can't be held to the commitments you make, if you make commitments in bad faith, I always like to look at these in the negative. If I make a commitment in bad faith, meaning I have no desire to keep that commitment, then how can you ever trust me? And isn't trust what this is all about? This is the honesty standard. Finally, the last one is we create an environment in which others feel safe to tell the truth. I do think that's an aspirational standard. If you've got people who are working for you who are also PMPs or are also part of the PMI organization, then they have an ethical standard to report to you stuff when they know about it. Having said that, people are people. I think that if you create an environment where bad news is not welcomed, where bad news is frowned upon, where we kill the messenger, I do feel like that's really going to hurt your project and hurt you as a project manager. So in this instance, I do think that this should be an aspirational standard. Okay, everybody, thanks a lot. I will finish up the mandatory standard in the next session. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.